Hello, welcome to Too Many Minis. My name's Ossie. Just wanted to do a quick video. Excuse the mess, by the way. It's like I'm surrounded by too many minis. It's all a mess. It's all a mess. I wanted to do a quick video. We've got Articon coming up. Before that we've got the Middle Earth doubles at Warhammer World this weekend. It's a big summer event. I assume Articon's going to be where they announce new things. And I want to talk about some of the rumors that are going around and what perhaps is coming next for the game, our beloved game that's 20 years old now. And yeah, like, are people hearing the same rumors as me? You know, the main thing that I'm hearing is that we're getting a new starter box, a new box set, Osgiliath themed, plastic Faramir, plastic Gothmog, pitted against each other. That seems the solidest bit of the rumours. People are pretty convinced about that. And with the recent range rotation, you've had the Faramir Ranger model, you've had the Gothmog model rotate out. So it seems very likely that that's right, that we are going to get a plastic Ranger Faramir, probably with a mounted option, and a plastic Gothmog with mount. And the assumption would be that, much like the Pelennor Fields box set from 2018, they'd package in some of the existing Mordor and Minas Tirith sprues that we have. It's quite a bit to choose from. Interested to see, you know, they could go knights or they could go plastic rangers and Minas Tirith warriors. You know, they've got the three plastic sprue options to go in there. For Mordor, there's quite a lot more options. Would they do more Morannons? Would they go back to the very old, you know, Return of the King era Mordor orcs? We've got the Troll, we've got the Fell Beast. You know, there's arguments for having them in there. Not terribly exciting, you know, repackaging of those things, but we need a good start. We need a good starter box in. The way Games Workshop tends to do a lot of its battle boxes for AOS and 40k now is you get a new hero for each side, and then the troops are old, or the troops are the upcoming regular plastics, but the kind of exclusive bits, the exciting bits, are the new characters. So that does work for me. I wonder, might we get the Osgiliath terrain sprue in there, because most of Games Workshop's kits, starter kits now come with terrain. That's, you know, this is something that's changed over the last few years, but the starter kits for AOS and 40k are available in terrain versions. When they do the Kill Team boxes, they have terrain. Warcry boxes have terrain. I'm interested in the idea that you could just throw the Osgiliath terrain in there. Must have paid its way now as a sprue. It could go in a box. Again, not super exciting, but you know, it's nice to have. It's solid terrain to play games around. So yeah, the Osgiliath makes sense. That's the other thing to say. Like, Osgiliath makes sense. We've got the places, you know, the points in the films and the books where you could realistically have a good starter set is Pelennor Fields, which we've had, Helm's Deep, and Osgiliath. I don't think anything else makes sense for a battle game. If you think back to the first original Fellowship of the Ring box game, had the Last Alliance versus Moria Goblins. It didn't make any sense. It's what they had to do for that film, but it didn't make sense. Helm's Deep, they've done all the Rohan plastics. There isn't another great Isengard thing to do in plastic, so I can't see any scope for new kits to go in a Helm's Deep battle box, if you will. So I think Osgiliath's the best bet. It makes sense. Then the question is, I mean, there's nothing in the rumors to say that we're getting new plastic warriors. There's nothing from Games Workshop to say that they've changed their policies on plastic warriors. So I'm not anticipating that. The big question for me, if we're getting this, is some of the rumors say it's going to have a new book in there. If it's got a new book in there, is that a new edition of the game, a new core rules? Again, people saying yes. You know, what does that mean? What are the changes we're going to be looking at? How big of an overhaul would that be? Would it be validating our army books? Like, it's hard to make big changes without doing that, but that'd be pretty painful. If you're looking at like those two huge army books plus all the profiles in the supplements, like this is a very mature game. It's really well rounded, and it seems rough to have a whole new edition with throw away your books type jazz. Would they go to a new board size? So 40k and AOS have gone to a slightly off 6x4 board size. It's a multiple of their little, whatever they are, 30 by 22 inch boards that you get with the, your 40k box sets, your Kill Team box sets and Warcry box sets. Would we move to that size? Would that mean invalidating all the existing scenarios? It's not that different. That's the other thing. The sizes aren't that different. But would we maybe see a board in our starter box? Because all the other Games Workshop games now come with, hard card boards. That's an interesting one to think about. I'm not particularly against it. But again, like if you have a change in the battlefield size, again, you're risking the great supplements we've got. I love those books. I don't want to really invalidate those books. I didn't mind so much invalidating previous editions because I wasn't as keen on them. They didn't have beautiful books. When we had like the 4 or 5 army list books, the Free Peoples and whatever they were, I can't remember. There were like 5 of them in the 2 editions ago. I didn't mind leaving them behind because they were pretty unlovely books. But these books that we've got now on the shelf, you've got a big whack of them, a big stack of them on your shelf. They look great. They're lovely books. They work well. There are mistakes in them, but there's nothing to say about a new edition, a reload of it, that it won't have new mistakes. You're always going to have human error, and the Games Workshop is not always the best at copy editing. I'd be reluctant to have a whole new edition, but a new tidied up main rules or something sounds cool. It's interesting, and I do think we need a new starter set. It gives the last starter set we had at our club, we had suddenly an influx of players coming from there, and I think you'd see that again. You'd see a new uptick in the game, and coming alongside the Rings of Power this autumn, after the summer, I think that's the right time to release a new edition of the game. It's been 4 years. It just makes sense. It's a good moment for a new edition or a new starter box. Let's put it that way. A new hype box. And for us existing players, we want to get it. Use more minis. You can never have too many minis. We'll probably go for it, most of us, even if we've got all that stuff, or we'll buy the characters off eBay or wait for them to be released separately or whatever. But it's an exciting thing for new players. We've had so many new players come in over COVID, lockdowns and stuff. So many returning players who used to play the game, when they were younger, when they were kids, when they had more time, whatever. And they got back into it through COVID. And I think a new box for them, great. Keep bringing in the new people. It's really good for the game. Then there's rumours of upcoming supplements, and the strongest rumour I'm hearing is a kind of quest for Erebor kind of book, like the Quest of the Ringbearer book, but taking in all of the Hobbit, piecing the Hobbit all together, filling in any gaps, maybe throwing a few profiles of missing characters. We don't have many named characters from the Hobbit that we haven't got. Rorak, the bird, talking bird, and the butler, Thranduil's butler, who gets drunk and falls asleep. We're not getting much more than that for Hobbit things that are missing. So maybe something exciting, new added in. I'm not terribly thrilled about that because I'm not the biggest Hobbit fan. I'm not the biggest fan of the book, and I'm not the biggest fan of the films. So not that bothered, but I do like it. And I can see the point in having a kind of Hobbit equivalent of Quest of the Ringbearer. Totally. But it doesn't tie well into an Osgiliath box set. So the last starter box we had, Penalty Fields, and then we had Gondor at War. Flowed really nicely. And I think bringing that focus back to the main battles of the films makes sense after we've been down some, kind of more niche bits. It's been all Easterlings the last few months. to bring it back around to one of the big film set pieces totally makes sense. Maybe we could see. I'm not hearing any rumors of it, but I'd love to see a supplement that followed on from Osgiliath and maybe had, the fiefdoms, some return, some more Harad stuff, that kind of thing, some more battles around Gondor. That would be cool for me, because I think fiefdoms is the largest area of expansion that there is left in the source material, in my opinion. We have named characters, we have named troop types that are all in the book, and for some of us it's like, really want those gallant green clad men, really want those fisher folk of the Ithir, and our Lord Devorin or whatever. We want those dudes. So doing his sons, that's really exciting stuff. The other rumor I'm hearing is that Angmar Arnor supplement after a Quest for Erebor one. Some people will be really excited about that. I'm not thrilled. I mean, it's just, I don't really like the sort of historical back in time nature of those armies when played against War of the Ring era armies and Hobbit era armies. But some people love them. There's some lovely units in there. There's some lovely looks to the models and stuff. So, I get that. They've been out of stock and out of the range for a bit. A lot of people would like to see them come back. And we're just getting through the list of things that need another look, like things that deserve another look. So that makes sense. The impression I get is that the obvious one, The Last Alliance, is off the table because of, the trickiness of the licensing around Rings of Power. We don't know much about the licensing of Rings of Power. We've just got in bookshops, we've just got the new editions of the Lord of the Rings books with the Rings of Power tie-in covers. And that is the first bit of Rings of Power licensing I've seen at all. This is not your average film or big TV show sort of licensing situation. This is Amazon. They do things differently, or not at all if they don't want to. They've got plenty of money. This is all chicken feed to them, licensing off their show. But yeah, I don't get the impression that Games Workshop are going to be doing anything to tie in with the Numenor Second Age nature of Rings and Power, the show, anytime soon. So that's the kind of rumours that I'm hearing. I don't know rumours that other people are hearing, but that's the rumours I'm hearing. I don't have any insider knowledge. It's just once things build to a certain point where enough people say, I think this is happening, then you start to kind of take notice of that. Another one for me that's interesting is that the Pelennor box kind of kicked off the plastic character series with Theoden, and we've had, I don't know how many of them we've had now, maybe about 10, maybe not that many, but you've had your Witch King and your Treebeard and your Eowyn's and Eomer's, King of the Dead, Saruman and Grima. It's been a really good series of revisiting the biggest characters and putting them into plastic modern kits, and they are top-notch kits. There's a couple that are still missing from that, in my opinion. And since they've been sort of running behind at times, it does feel like, well, we may still be due some, I really think a plastic Frodo, Sam and Gollum is on the cards. I mean, I haven't heard any rumours of that, but I just think, they're the only ones not in plastic now, except for the rubbishy old Mines of Moria Fellowship in plastic. So I'd love to see them. And, a big tricked out Boromir would follow on nicely from an Osgiliath box, wouldn't it? Boromir with all the options in plastic. And maybe even Elessar, King Aragorn with all the options. That would be good. I think we're kind of missing them. But is that Aragorn a bit of a niche market, since we've got a plastic Aragorn in the 300s box? Yeah, I guess Boromir sticks out. And yeah, we don't have a Gandalf the Grey in plastic, new one. But I don't know that we necessarily need one. We've got quite a few Gandalf the Greys. But yeah, would the character series continue, or would if we had a new start box a new kind of addition? Is that bringing to an end that run? Might we expect something new? It's be an interesting little turning point. Yeah, we might see new things, new stuff. I mean, maybe there's something really unexpected that we're going to see. I mean, like, I'm a big fan of Kill Team Warcry, the way that they bring this kind of smaller skirmish version of the larger 40k and AOS games. It's not such an issue in Middle-earth because the game isn't as big and chunky and massive to start with. But I'd love to see a little kind of, straight out the box, more competitive battle companies or battle companies with characters or whatever. I mean, I think that'd be cool. I don't think it's likely, but I think that stuff is cool. But as I've said a million times, my absolute dream would be a kind of Warhammer Quest Middle-earth, following the formats of Cursed City and Blackstone Fortress that I think have got really good and I really like. Do that with Middle-earth, I'm in 100%. But I don't think necessarily Games Workshop have the rights to do that. Because Fantasy Flight Games produce a similar sort of game in Journeys of Middle-earth. But yeah, it could be a little moment of change. It might be a time to change how they're doing things, or they could just put out a start box and everything remains the same. No new addition, carries on as is. Or the starter box itself could be a fiction, and we just carry on having supplements, and we hear about a new supplement at Ardacon. But normally we've got something that we know about that's coming up. We don't tend to go long periods of time where everything's released and we haven't heard what the next thing to look forward to is. So it's an interesting little moment. I'm excited to hear about it. Leave a comment, let me know what you think it is. Have you heard some rumours? Because I'm going to be like, I'm not going to any of these big events this summer. I will be like refreshing my feeds, clicking, refresh the whole time and being like, what's happening? Because I love the hype and the new things are always exciting. So yeah, let me know what you think and thanks for watching. Bye.